Hello everyone, this is Lynn with Psychic Focus at psychicfocus.blogspot.com, and today I decided to pull together a couple different questions, and I titled this post Questions from the Net because they're all involved with people that are out there or stories that are out there, and people like some clarity or insight on them. So I will go ahead and get started. First question says, I hesitate to ask about people, but that's all I have for the moment. Wes Penray and his YouTube channel. Where does this guy come from? There sure is a lot of folks who say that they have special knowledge and they want to help humanity. How do you rate his info, truthful or BS? He seems not to trust anyone, and I tend to agree with him. You must examine any and all news these days with extra caution. And I put a link to his YouTube channel in case you guys want to go ahead and check that out. So I took a minute and I did look at his channel. I wanted to see a picture of him. I wanted to tune into him, see if I could pick up on his energy and those kind of things. And it was as if when I tuned into him, I got a story, or maybe like a mini story, play out in my mind regarding his life, where he's been and how he's gotten to where he is now and why he's even doing what he's doing. And I feel like when he was, I'm going to say maybe late teens, early 20s, he was really struggling with life, trying to find the purpose in it, trying to have some kind of direction as to where he wanted to go and try to see the meaning of life. What's the purpose out there? But that was coupled with, it feels as though he had some family issues going on, or something to where maybe he felt a little alienated as he was trying to navigate through this time period, which left him a little more vulnerable to people and things out there. But nonetheless, that's mentally where he was at. And in the process of him trying to gain a better understanding or understand himself, he stumbled upon what looked like a group of people. It almost had this cult vibe to it though. But for him, when he was looking for something, looking to belong and wanted to feel that connectedness, find a purpose, all those kind of things, he gravitated to them, and they also were very open and welcoming to him, to bring him into the group. And so he developed his own kind of a family with these people, or at least this group. It became something very important to him. And as he got into it a little deeper, he saw some darker things that were a little maybe surprising to him. It's like I see this emotion of him making his eyes big and kind of, jumping back and trying to realize what it is that he was even seeing. But at the same time, that emotion of wanting to belong was so strong that he forced himself to get over it and get through it. And I get that that's how a lot of people got into these groups. They found someone vulnerable where he was at and kind of brought them in under their wing, and nonetheless they all became this, participants in this group. And so I also felt once you're in, it was kind of hard to leave. It had the vibe of kind of a cult, but kind of like a gang too. How when people say these street gangs that you get in and it's hard to leave, it had that type of vibe and had that kind of an emotion to it. And so after Wes, he listened to things, witnessed things, heard things. He got to a point where he couldn't really take it anymore. And it felt as though someone that he really cared about, whether it was a good friend, someone he was in a relationship, but there was definitely this emotional investment involved. They feel like they got harmed, and he knew then that he had to get out. He had to get out for himself, and I feel he tried to bring others out too. And because it was difficult to leave this group, I saw an image of a map emerge, and what he had to do was make this radical move to geographically change locations or distance himself in some way. And then he knew that they would ultimately find him. And so he kind of had one or two ways that this could play out, and he was willing to take his chances. One, he knew if he stayed quiet, they would probably find him. If he was vocal about the things that he saw, maybe experiences he had, and all of those kind of things, by the time they were able to get to him and he was able to get the word out, he felt almost more protected because more people knew. And so it was easier for them, rather than to just make him disappear, to treat him like he's full of disinformation. So it feels as though it was a ploy to discredit all the things that he said, and that was their tactic. That was their defense against everything that he brought to light. And specifically, he's talking about, like, I don't know if you want to call it Illuminati, but it does feel like a secret group, kind of like how people refer to that. So as he shares things and he puts it out there, all they did was they go in and they troll him, and they discredit all the things that he says. But in reality, it did feel like there was a lot of truth to what he was saying. And I do agree with the person that asked this question. You do have to examine things. You have to run it through your intuitive filter, and just always be on the alert, because a lot of times there can be secret agendas and other sides to the story and other things that we don't understand that make it so much more complex. But overall, he felt fairly accurate in the things that he was saying, and it looks as though there's people out there intentionally trying to dissuade you from believing in what he's saying. Okay, so next question. There's a video game out there called Fortnite, and a lot of you with kids probably already know this. It's called Fortnite Battle Royale. It has many kids and adults addicted. Many people are spending huge amounts of money and time playing this game, and therefore affecting their mental, social, and financial well-being. The game is violent. It encourages the gamer to shoot and kill people in order to win or score. Do you see an end to the success of this popular game and children even losing interest? So, when I tuned into this, I get the motive of a lot of these games. It's twofold. And I saw that with this too. And one of the motives is to desensitize people with the violence of harming and injuring other people. It takes the human factor out of it. You're in these games and you're running around and, these shooter games, and you're killing other people, but you're not even registering it that that's what you're doing. It's just the objective of the game. And then what I saw a line of people, and they were all sitting, they had these electrodes tied to their head. It was like one person was controlling all these different people as if they were being programmed literally with a message while they were playing. And it felt almost like, yeah, you're doing this desensitization of harming people, but more importantly, there's this goal out there to see how well people can be programmed based off these games. How effective is this? Can you control people? Can you evoke an emotion or a challenge or some kind of action that makes people less maybe humanistic toward one another? Those kind of things. So there's definitely that portion of an agenda out there. And the second goal that I saw was for people to make money. They offer games, and I'm not even talking specifically this one, even though this falls into the category, that they want to offer free or cheaper games with these in-play purchases. And it allows the gamers to make more money. And it's as if someone strategically sat and said, oh, we can charge $60 for an Xbox game, or we can offer this game at a lower cost with these in-purchases, buying a special sword or cape or, magical power. And they end up making more revenue that way off these little piecemeal things that they offer along the way. And so whoever marketed this saw this as a tactic, and they are implementing that in a lot of games. Even apps on your phone, games on your phone, all these kind of things. And they're making money off of it. And it also looked like there was this component of drawing people in, because rather than win things on their own merit, if you had to start a game and you played all the way through, and if you wanted a sword, you had to find it, or if you wanted to upgrade something else, you had to work your way through and have points or have a strategy. People now, they just want to go in and buy it and be done. They don't want to have to go and do the strenuous part of playing. So there's also that component too. It's the inability for delayed satisfaction or gratification. They want everything now, and they're playing into that and preying upon that also to make money. That was another aspect of it that I saw. And unfortunately, I don't see people losing any interest anytime soon. And they like the idea of paying for an advantage, like the special armor, versus working through all this. And there is a portion of society that likes the ability to pay to get ahead versus the hard work. And I'm not saying that everybody's like that. And there are people that go into games and they're very clear on what it is, and they have good judgment. They're can be a benefit even. Their hand-eye coordination, your reflexes ability. So I'm not saying that all games are bad. Just be mindful what your kids are doing, or even if you get tangled up in it and you realize, is this serving me well? Do I feel worse when I'm done? Is it harming me, financially, in any other way? Just, I don't know, create a good balance. But I do see that there are definitely a couple motives behind the creators of these games, and they're not for your best interests, it's for their best interests. Okay, the last question, and this is short and sweet one. It says, "Hi Lynn, is this really a vanishing cat, a ghost cat, or just a technical glitch of the system? This was on video in Ireland where there's hundreds of cats simply disappearing. Is this connected?" And what it is, and I'll even put it here on the video so you can watch it yourself. It's this cat that's just walking and all of a sudden walks and just vanishes into nothingness. And so I watched this video, and when I tuned into it, I got that it was completely authentic and that we are witnessing a cat that manifests itself. It is kind of like a ghost cat, I guess you want to call that, if you want to call it that. And so it was this cat that was like a ghost of a cat that manifests to where it could be seen in the 3D, and then it later shifted back into the spirit realm. And it was a pretty cool video, so it's definitely worth taking a few seconds to watch it. It's pretty short. And that's all I have. Again, thank you for listening. Please feel free to leave a comment, like it, share it, subscribe. All those things help me out so much. I'm so grateful for all of you. And again, this is Lynn with Psychic Focus with psychicfocus.blogspot.com. Take care.